short lightning talk from No Cabin Fever today. This is an idea of Scandio, Kreuzwerker, and K15T, all companies from the, let's say, Atlassian ecosystem. And we had the idea not to do 1 or 2 days remote summits or something like that, just to provide a single talk a day. So hashtag is a talk a day. And we start today with the first one. And I have the honor to start. So short introduction about myself. My name is Christian Koch. I studied computer sciences, married 4 kids, and I'm the co-founder of Scandio and Lively Apps. Scandio is a consulting company and Lively Apps is a product company in the Atlassian ecosystem. So today, my talk is about how I survive home office. Maybe somebody of you know that cover. It's a Supertramp cover. It's called Crisis. There is no crisis. This is not my home office. Fortunately, it's not. But let me start with the result. I decided after 2 weeks of home office that I will fail. Of course, I will survive it, but it's not my favorite work to do that at home alone in the sewing room of my daughter. And this is my setup. So I saw on Twitter and LinkedIn and so on a lot of setup images regarding 3 screens, curved screens, green walls, and something like that. So I don't have that, but my MacBook Pro pretty helps me. This is awesome because I can work on the kitchen table too and move around in the house and have some social communication with my family then. Whether you are good in home office or not, I think that depends on the job. So we have a lot of developers and they are kind of happy with the home office scenario. We have people there doing business development and a lot of customer communication. That's a logical thing. They are not that happy in that environment, but we have all the setup up and running, and it's possible. So from my perspective, I'm a blah blah guy. I have to run around and go to the next office and discuss with the people an idea or something about a new customer or project and so on. And if you think that in a home office scenario, you know my current job. So I have between 10 to 16, 20 Zoom calls, Slack calls, phone calls, whatever calls on a single day. And it doesn't feel pretty cool, but it works. The first thing I want to start with in my scenario is that we moved to Zipgate, I think 8 or 9 years ago in the cloud telephony. I have my company number on my iPhone using eSIM scenario that's provisioned by the Zipgate. So I don't have any problems. I do not have to install a Zip phone or something like that. It's just my mobile phone, and that's pretty awesome to use that. And I can check all numbers that I want to have in that environment, and it feels like in the office. What helps me in the home office is a lot of food between doing some pauses then and having breakfast twice and so on. And this is one of the best tool sets to find the fridge in your local environment. So the next thing is we at Scandio, we moved to G Suite 10 years ago, and this helps us in that scenario by far. So we have G Drive, normally not that much used, but in the current situation, we have a lot of G Drive usage, of course, emailing, calendaring, and so on. And it's well connected to the other tools I want to recommend within that. And because G Suite is not behind the firewalls, we do not have problems with VPN. So in fact, we have a VPN, and we had some issues with that VPN the time we moved to the home office. It was Friday 2 weeks ago, because we had not enough allowed connections in our VPN firewall. So we had to increase that from 50 allowed connections to more than 100 allowed connections. But this only is relevant for 2 running systems. For all other systems, we do not need that VPN connections. And of course, the connections to our customers' networks is always VPN relevant. Yeah. The next thing is something which I normally hate, but in the home office scenario, I love Slack. They had a new client update today for us at Scandio, and it's pretty awesome. So Slack is like doing phone calls within your companies 20 years ago. So we do everything with Slack, a lot of one-to-one communication. There is a chat channel for each project. There is a chat channel for the accounting department, and so on. Of course, all things regarding sales, offers, and so on, used by Slack. And it's time shifted because Lively app is partially in Canada, and we have some colleagues working there. And we love Slack. We're using the video conferencing system and the audio conferencing system for one-to-one, or for, let's say, up to 4 people in a Slack call. Quality is not that 100% that we want to use it in real conferences or customer communication or recruiting communications for that. But it's a pretty important tool, and it's up and running for at least 12 hours on my desktop. And I had a look at the analytics. We increased our number of messages by around 80% within the last 2 weeks. So currently we have up to 100 users on Slack, and we have around 3 to 3,200 messages a day, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and the next most important tool set is the fridge. In the fridge, you find additional food if breakfast and lunch doesn't help that much. And there is the beer too for the afternoon hours. So it's not only about software and so on. So for Scandio, Confluence is the single point of truth. And we recognize this in the current home office scenario, that we need to have knowledge always written in Confluence. You can search in Slack, you can search in Google Drive and so on, but that doesn't help at Scandio. At Scandio, you need to have that information in Confluence. We starting a Confluence editor in each meeting, whether it's remote or not. So currently all meetings are remote. We're using the collaborative editing with 100%. So sometimes we have meetings with 5 editors. If there are customers onboarded, we have meetings with more than 5 editors. So collaborative editing is pretty awesome. The search engine is not 100% in German language, as you know, but it's far better than working in the Explorer file system or in the Finder system. So this is our single point of truth. This is where we work normally. This is where we do our documentation, discussing quotes, and so on. We love to work with Confluence, and we work with all other Atlassian tools too, but they are not that important for myself. I'm not a programmer anymore. I check the Bitbucket server or the Bitbucket cloud environment once a month, let's say. And Jira is only important for me doing recruiting and sales, because Jira is our CRM system too. Regarding the recruiting, this is not that much in the current situation, as you can imagine. But on the other hand, we have, let's say, up to 100 tickets open in our CRM regarding new projects, new customer license sales, and so on. So this is the second part of the Atlassian toolset that is very important for us at Scandio, and we do not have to sit in the same office to do that work. Yeah, and the boomer now, Zoom. We started using Zoom, let's say, a year ago in our recruiting interviews and so on. And in the current situation is that every team has a Zoom moderator account. I started using my own moderator account for sales issues, all recruiting stuff, all onboarding stuff for new employees, sales pitches, workshops, 4 hours, all hands meeting with 80 and more people. We are using Zoom only, and the webinar today is with Zoom webinars too. So I think this is really an important tool, and it's by far the best quality in video conferencing that we know. Microsoft Teams is not that bad, to be honest. We do not have an account for Microsoft Teams, but we use that with a lot of customers in addition to Zoom. If your brain is burned, maybe it helps in the afternoon hours or in the evening hours to play some board games with your family. So we are locked down with 5 people now. In the same house. It's not social distancing. It feels more like the families 10 years ago. A lot of playing board games and so on, and this helps to get out of this home office scenario, which is a 12 to 16 hour scenario, or it feels like a 12 to 16 hour scenario. The last thing I introduced 2 weeks ago was Calendly. I saw that from different partners around the world. They're using Calendly for more than a year or 2 years, and I thought, is this necessary to have that full automated appointment choosing and so on? And yes, in that scenario, it is mandatory. It's so easy. It's connected to Zoom. It's connected to my Google Calendar. I can send that link out. I have 3 different links, one for workshops, 4 hours, one for a 2 hours conference call, and one for a 30-minute short call. I'm using that, let's say 5 to 10 times a day. And it's impressive. It saves so much time. I can recommend that in the scenario. Yeah, and one more important thing: if the work is done in the evening hours, support your local beer brewery. That's really important. If you are in Munich, you can order from a local brewery. They will bring it to your home without physical connections, and it's better to buy at the large breweries of the world. In that scenario. Yeah, thank you. At the end, a friend of mine told me a week ago or something like that, this home office scenario, it feels like being on a rock festival 10 years ago. 3 days, no shower, and always a beer nearby. I had to love that much. It's somehow a little bit truth in it. And maybe we can finalize this lockdown period at the end of April. Maybe we have to do it some weeks longer, but you can have another talk tomorrow, and we will provide everyday talks for you in that scenario. So, do you have any questions regarding my short lightning talk about how I will survive the home office scenario? Then you have to put them in the Q&A session. There's the first question. No, currently we are not using Zoom to Slack integration because we are switching that accounts. We've bought that much, and we do not want to pay a Zoom account for every single employee. So it's manually. Cool. I think then we are done for today. It's impressive. More than 35 people joined that first lightning talk, and I think we will see a lot of more people within the next day. We have cool talks up and running. Today I saw that Sonatype will have talks, Datadog will have talks. I think we have a talk with Atlassian, maybe 2 talks with Atlassian, and a lot of other companies will join that movement within the next day. So currently the agenda is not that huge, but this is more on a technical level. Within our last discussion, we have more than 30 already confirmed lightning talks. So watch the website and look at the social media. We will provide you other information. Yeah, thanks for coming by.
And then tune in again for tomorrow's talk of Sven Schattner from Lively Apps about sometimes it helps to hide elements in Atlassian Confluence. You can just sign up and register through the same website. And then thanks for joining today.
Thanks for joining.